Hello there, fanfickers. Welcome back to a podcast. We're a pod. Probably not the internet's favorite. Probably not the internet's least favorite. I saw the other day that we actually charted on the Apple comedy charts. We were 1498th.
1498th.
Yeah.
Hey,
so it's better than Columbus. So I'll take it.
That's the best. I feel like I should. I'm going to put that right next to all my participation trophies.
Yeah.
1498th.
I mean, if we were true crime and we got to 1498, that'd probably be more impressive because there's like 400,000,
a trillion of them. Yeah.
But for comedy, they're probably only 1,500.
Well, in terms of in terms of fan fiction podcasts, we're probably like mid 60s.
Yeah, and that's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive.
I don't know how many of them could claim a world record.
Yeah, we're the only world record shattering.
Yeah,
podcast. But being the most okayest podcast,
yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm very fine with just being a podcast.
Let's ride that line.
Yeah,
let's walk the line.
Yeah,
right down the middle. Because
when you get big, you get so many expectations, and then you start doing blow, and then you just end up jacking.
I mean, I've been preparing for that. I've already been doing a lot of blow, just to prepare.
I've just been jacking it in San Diego to prepare for this.
Yeah, we've got everything covered.
Wow,
all our bases.
This is a multi-dimensional podcast now. I'm very impressed with us. Look at us. We're so great.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So today is May 10th when this comes out. Recording today is May 1st. May the 1st be with you, my friend.
May the 1st be unto you as well.
Unto you as well, my friend. But this is being released May 10th. And so once again, to sell out and ride the wave of pop culture.
To ride the wave a la surfing Pikachu.
This is a Pokemon-themed episode. Now, our last episode that was Pokemon themed was a banger. It was probably the best episode in our entire library.
Our first
episode.
Our debut.
Rectified Anonymity. If you've listened to it, I'm sorry. If you haven't, don't. No. I mean, unless you're interested.
Yeah.
But
if you're the person who before Endgame you had to watch all the movies, go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not our Iron Man.
No.
It's probably our Thor Dark World.
Nah.
Yeah.
So we are going to ride that Detective Pikachu wave, and we're going to do another Pikachu or another Pokemon fanfic. Yes, but before that, for once, Ryan, he just gave me like the most embarrassed look. Ryan found an opening topic of conversation.
Yes, I actually did something smart. So I was cruising the internet, as you do, and I found this article from Vox. It was written in 2016 titled Why We're Terrified of Fan Fiction. And there's a lot to it. It's kind of like, it's one of those articles where you're responding, like responding to another article that was written about another article. But it talks about kind of fandoms and how this one article was talking about how fandoms are so demanding now, and it mentions like the call for Elsa to have a girlfriend, or the backlash against Captain Marvel or Captain America being in Hydra, and like the all-female Ghostbusters. That was like the big thing that kicked it off.
The feminists are taking over.
The huge response to that. But it also talks about like fan fiction as a part of fandom. It doesn't really come down on one side or the other, whether it's like bad or good. I think we're pretty pro fan fiction here, but
I hope so. We spend a lot of time on it.
The longer you spend with something, maybe the more you tend to turn around on it. But
that's true. That's why my parents don't like me anymore.
So I'm just going to kind of jump ahead. I recommend if you're interested to go read the article. But they talk about kind of the different types of fan fiction, and they present the fan fiction side of it and the people who don't like fan fiction side of it.
What drew you to this article?
It was just one of the titles. Okay. I wasn't on Vox. I was just looking up. Sometimes I go on Google, just type in fan fiction, just see what's going on, stir the pot in the community.
Who's saying what?
And then I go all the way back to 2016 because it doesn't get a lot of main media coverage. So when it does, you got to latch on to it.
Does it feel like fanfic maybe is on a decline? Does it maybe feel that way to you?
I have no stats to back that up.
No.
When you search
I have no stats to back that up.
Latest update. I mean, I found plenty of stuff about Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
That came out, this month.
No, that's very true. But I almost feel like when the stuff that has the most things written about it aren't current things. And obviously that would make sense because over time you write more and more. Or it could be that whatever that thing that was out in 2013 we just had a bigger fan base that was more likely to write fan fiction.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it's as prevalent as it once was.
I also think there are like less big things, like as we add like all these streaming services and different shows.
They feel less special because there's so many of them.
Right. So it's not like Star Wars, which
Yeah.
is like the one thing, so everybody writes.
No, you get a Star Wars movie a year now.
Or like Labyrinth is a good example, where it was
Yeah.
just the one thing and it didn't get a million spin-offs, so everyone wrote about it.
because you needed more.
So
that makes sense.
And I think it might just be kind of a retrospect thing. So
Yeah.
and there's so much Sherlock fan fiction.
And there's so much Teen Wolf, and that's the only reason why I'm thinking. No, I'm serious. Like,
And there has been Sherlock. Well, there's been Sherlock Holmes fan fiction since it came out.
yeah, but
So-
it's Sherlock from the TV show.
I know, but
with,
it's continuing every time it comes up.
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And Bilbo Baggins.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have anything to back that up, but I feel like it's still pretty thriving
I'm just
community.
observation.
Yeah.
Like almost seems that way from scouring the internet.
Just that it's based on older fandoms.
Yeah, a little bit.
So getting into this article, they talk about all of the arguments for or that are against fan fiction.
So what are some of the arguments?
Just like some of the common points that fandom is a mass of lightsaber clutching nerds camping out all night on the sidewalk to buy movie tickets and either fundamentally sophomoric or solipsistic.
Is this one of those articles where someone tries to write like academically to seem smart?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, fuck off.
All fan fiction is slash, and all slash is pornographic.
That's
all
not
slash is by straight teenage girls,
I
or
think
all slash is by middle-aged gay men.
I think we have proven that not all fan fiction is slash.
That's
A lot of it is.
well. This is what they're saying. These are like some of the blanket arguments that people say.
I thought they were actually trying to say that.
No, because they go point by point, one or the other.
And the other thing too is what was the first point?
Fandom is a mass of lightsaber clutching nerds camping out all night on the sidewalk to buy movie tickets, which either fundamentally sophomoric, like people never grew up, they're just like a bunch of nerds.
You know, I've never really liked this argument, but it is fair. What's the difference between that and tailgating before a football game? And
point.
crying when your favorite player gets traded?
Burning their jersey in the streets.
Exactly. Fan means fanatic. You're still fanatic about something. Are you getting mad at someone because of what they're fanatic about?
I camped out overnight for basketball tickets.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
For the Gator
Done
basketball
that
tickets.
multiple times.
Yeah. How's that any different? I mean, I do not like that argument, but I think it's a fair argument.
People camp out in
Fair
front of
point.
Best Buy.
For phones.
Yeah.
Or for fucking Black Friday deals. So what's the difference between camping out for a movie ticket and...
Because that's kid stuff.
Okay, Bill Maher.
That's kid stuff, man.
Okay, Bill
Football's
Maher.
big people stuff.
You know, I actually, this sort of has to do with what we're talking about because it's kind of like that like nerd or pop culture like growing to these like amazing, massive, heights. But like one thing that I used to do with... when I was younger with like all of my friends that I used to act with, we used to go to the midnight release of all the Harry Potter movies and all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't feel special anymore because now
I think I went to the midnight release of Man of Steel. I think that was the last midnight release I went to.
God, that's so cool. But they're like, but now it's just like, oh, do you like Avengers? Now you can see it 6 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah.
And like, there's something about going to the midnight release and knowing that like it is technically still that like the day it's supposed to be released, but it's the first minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like
There's well they I remember they did away, at least AMC did away with midnight releases after Aurora, Colorado. Dark Knight
okay.
Rises. There was like security concerns.
yeah. I actually saw Dark Knight Rises at midnight. I did a movie marathon at AMC where they showed the first two.
That sounds awesome.
And then they showed the third one. It was awesome. But I don't know. It just seems, like there's something about seeing it at midnight, which kind of makes it different.
Right.
I don't know.
Something about being in the front row of a football game makes it feel different.
Yeah, exactly.
Another one of the points that people commonly make against fanfiction. Or worst of all, fandom is a group of oversexed teenage girls writing porny and borderline illiterate fanfiction, which is wrong for moral, aesthetic, and legal reasons. You mean, sometimes you come down in this camp.
Yeah, sometimes. But, I mean, okay, think about it this way, listener. Ryan and I try our best to cater to you the best stories, or stories we find interesting, right? Like, that's sort of our general rule.
We try to.
And we could be smutty every week, but we're not. Well, we could be, if we wanted to. But we're not. But do you know how much time we have to spend to find things that aren't smut? Honestly.
It doesn't bother me.
No, it doesn't bother me because it's easy to just like search and whittle it down. But it's a lot. There's 95 to 98% of all fanfic has some sort of smut in it. I think I can say that comfortably. What do you think?
Every great story has a romance. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Every great story has a romance.
So I think that is a very blanketed statement, very, very uninformed argument, but I don't think it's unfair.
Oversexed teenage girls writing porny and borderline illiterate fan fiction.
That's really strong
which
language.
is wrong for moral aesthetic
That's
reasons.
really strong language. I take it back. I don't know. I used to think that. I used to 100% believe that.
But now you're saying the other side. The small 5-6%, that's really good.
Yeah.
But you still get... we both get frustrated when we...
No,
kind of
for
run into
sure.
stuff.
Like, if you didn't like the Scrubs episode, that was one of the only non-smut Scrubs fanfics I could find. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That's a weird argument. That's a difficult one to try to.
It's hard to refute that.
It's hard to refute it, but that's very strong language.
It might be a little overstated. The last point that a lot of people dump on is what we have now christened, I think, trademark, the George R.R. Martin argument. The George R.R. argument. Why would you write about someone else's characters when you could be making up your own? And we talked about that ad nauseum, so we don't have to discuss that.
Well, for the people that haven't heard it, I think we've just kind of come to the conclusion that instead of having to take the time to build up your own character development and all that, you're already getting the emotional weight of someone else's characters, and you get to explore them in a way that you think is interesting.
In your own way.
Yeah. Because character building's a lot. That's a big part of writing. And if you already have the characters built, it's easy just to kind of jump in, especially if the characters everybody already knows. Like if you did something with Superman, so everyone knows who Superman is.
You can plug and play.
Exactly.
Moral paragon. And then you can put him in a morally ambiguous situation. It is immediately interesting.
And so it'd be one thing if you were selling this and you weren't creating your own characters, but no one's trying to sell
or
this.
changing the names and selling it for like $100 million.
Which happens all the time. That one does actually happen a lot. So
here are the fan counterpoints. Some fans are curative, which means they're into knowing all the trivia about a given piece of media or canon and discussing it in minute detail. While some are transformative, which means they're into writing fan fiction or drawing fan art and making fan videos. Some are into both. Fandom is not a monolith. That's one of the
that's true.
Counterpoints. Fan fiction writers are mostly women. Writers for the fan fiction site Archive of Our Own are mostly, but not overwhelmingly, just out of college. Other sites like Wattpad skew younger. These are all just like counterpoints that they're making. Like these are college-educated people. It's mostly women, and we will talk about that later. There was some research done, to prove that.
Well, with the women thing, that one, like the college-educated women, that's not super surprising, especially considering when you look at where men and women generally tend to major in, like where they normally lie on that. Generally speaking, based on actual statistics, women tend to lean towards humanities to major in, or soft sciences, so like psychology. And that would make sense that if you're a college graduate and you're a female, that you might be interested in writing fan fiction, because that has to deal with humanity, that explores more human avenues.
Well, let me read. There's another quote further down in the article from author Camille Bacon Smith. Apparently, she's an author of a paranormal romance series, and she also wrote some Star Trek fandom, some things like that. Her quote is, "Male fans of the show, Star Trek, generally balk at the restriction and prefer to engage in activities such as costuming and crafts, for which payment is not a traditional reward. Women, who traditionally spend a large portion of their lives working in relative isolation for little or no pay, bring a different set of motivations to their writing and art. They want to talk to other women to express themselves in the science fiction form that, until recently, has all but excluded them. The writers cannot sell their work, but they don't have to meet commercial criteria for success either. They must please only the predominantly female Star Trek fan community." So that's where it's like
that's
a
fair.
closed fandom, and that's how you kind of get this like almost second language, where an outsider you read this like, what is going on?
No,
but everyone in that community understands it. You understand stuff like that.
And
right?
and I think that even kind of proves my point a little further, because where women generally are interested in people, which is, makes a lot of sense. Men are more generally speaking interested in things, and that's why someone like Ryan is an engineer. Engineers have the worst interpersonal skills. Right, Ryan? He says as he's looking at his phone. But But men are typically more interested in things. So it makes sense that men are more interested in, collecting items and building things and doing costumes, whereas women are more likely to write.
What the article goes on to is I think it does an interesting job where it's like it's not like this like certain genders are predisposed to certain roles. It kind of
No, I'm saying that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the article goes on to like say have a different idea about that. So
really?
Let me point this
okay,
to you.
Yeah,
and
let's have the back and forth.
So
on
this is the terms curative and transformative. You remember I just talked about those.
Yeah.
Curative being like but he uses his left hand and has green, and then transformative is like okay, so this is an alternate universe where Ash Ketchum is a ghost, something completely different.
That'd be cool.
That was coined by a Reddit user, Lord Byronic. I mean, it's hard to. There's no like professor of fan fiction, so you kind of have to go with these people, on
especially
the internet.
Since academic literature and academia is already elitist as it is.
Pretty closed group there. This person argues that women, the queer community, and people of color tend to be drawn to transformative fandom for other reasons. Quote, because the majority of professionally made media is catered towards a straight, white, male demographic, leaving little room for, quote, outsiders who, if they want to see themselves in media, have to attack it and change it, hence /fic, hence long essays claiming that Hermione Granger is black, hence headcanons about trans characters or genderqueer characters, or even heterosexual characters being queer. The argument has picked up steam. Elizabeth Minkle, for example, expanded it in an article for the New Statesman. My preferred explanation is the idea that the vast majority of what we watch is from the male perspective, authored, directed, and filmed by men, and mostly straight white men, and that. Fan fiction gives women and other marginalized group the chance to subvert that perspective, to fracture a story and recast it in her own way. It often feels as if there isn't much space for difference in the dominant cultural narratives. In fandom, by design, there's space for all.
I really like that argument. I think it makes a lot of sense. I do think that's a stronger argument 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I think
there's
we're
definitely
slowly,
a shift.
Yeah.
And that's maybe that's why you see less fan fiction.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're seeing
it could
less
be
of
because
that
they start
desire
to feel
to put themselves
more represented. And I don't think anyone who's a part of a marginalized community feels like they're 100% represented at the moment. But I think you can definitely say that strides have been made and honest attempts have been made to kind of stray that way, to kind of start going in that direction. I mean, look at Wonder Woman. Directed by Patty Jenkins, starring Gal Gadot. Amazing film. Patty Jenkins is an amazing filmmaker. I wish she would do the next Justice League movie. She's awesome. So I could definitely see how 5, 10, 15 years ago, I think that'd be a stronger argument.
Right. And the article, there's a lot of part. That's why I think this is an interesting article.
Yeah.
Is it goes on because it talks more about that. Where's the line between, say, sports and media? So it goes on and on. Surely fewer sci-fi fandoms have begat dangerous cults than, say, sports games have led to dangerous riots. Yet if any police force has a stash of secret files on sports fans, they're keeping it very closely guarded secret. No one is writing tittering, vaguely disgusted anthropological examinations of sports fandom. There's always some...
That's not true.
Not as much as people just bashing fan fiction outright.
Well, I know about too much academic anthropology.
There you go.
So never mind.
There's something specific about media fandom and to devoting large amounts of emotional energy to media in particular that is particularly threatening. Adult men crying and engaging in acts of physical violence over sports is expected. People crying over a TV show is weird. I guess it's becoming more accepted, especially with Game of Thrones.
Well, especially since you hear everyone say they wept during Endgame.
Right. Women writing stories where Kirk and Spock are more than just friends is not only weird, but disgusting and dangerous too. Of course, sports fandom is masculine. It's overwhelmingly male-dominated. It's macho. It's something we as a culture have decided is manly. This designation erases that many very real women who are into sports, but it remains our cultural image of sports fandom. Media fandom's image is, if not feminine, at the very least, a hell of a lot less masculine than sports fandom, and that makes it weird. And fanfiction is not only unmasculine, but actively feminine, designed for women rather than men, and to others that makes it dangerous. So that's kind of that's another point.
So
we're
almost at this point we're almost getting into a feminist interpretation of the issue. It almost seems like.
I think they recognize that there is that dichotomy between how can people be addicted, worshiping at the altar of sports, and then people who do the same level of devotion to fandom are ostracized.
Yeah,
and
but it almost seems like they're trying to attribute it too much on some sort of patriarchal culture and not other other factors.
There's so much going on in this article. I think they're just exploring it. They're trying to get to the root cause. I think the root cause, and eventually, and I'm not going to read the end because it goes on and on, is about gender. But I think they hit on a lot of interesting topics.
But you can't just mention something that big and say, oh, I'm just exploring different avenues. If you're writing an article like this, you really should have a singular view or article, or like, you know, viewpoint, some argument. Obviously, this is some sort of an argumentative article trying to defend a point of view. It
kind of bounces back and forth. It's very unclear with that.
That's a poorly structured article.
I invite you to read it.
No, that's fine.
I invite everyone to read it. Because I'm definitely not the best to synthesize all of this.
No, that's fine.
At the end, it just talks about how media for young women has long been considered a threat. It talks about, like, the novel when it first came out was like a dangerous thing that you'd waste your mind on, but it was predominantly read by women up until like the greats came out, and everyone's like, oh yeah, like novels are the shit, man. Like, let's all read them. So it goes on and kind of talks about that. And it has this funny thing when presented with /fic. Dan Bergstein, he's runs some website, writes, you can only do one of 5 things when you're encountered with /.
Yeah.
Number 1 you can do is giggle.
Beat off.
Number 2 is gently whisper no to an empty room.
That's just me. No.
Number 3.
No.
Number 3, solemnly shake your head at humanity.
Yeah.
Number 4, stare out the window as you try to make sense of it all. Or number 5, send links to all of your friends.
That's a good one.
So that's kind of like the 5 things you can do.
Not having read that article, I think a very uninformed counter on my part is, let's just, in your head right now, think about the stereotype for the man who is really into football and the man who is really into Star Wars. Stereotypically, do they look the same?
No.
Which one has the bigger build, like muscular build?
Probably muscular? Okay.
Yeah. I know when I said bigger.
Yeah, probably the sports guy.
Which one's likely wearing glasses?
Probably the Star Wars guy.
Which one likely has more acne?
Toss up. Nachos. Make me break out.
That's a good point.
We'll push. It's a push on that one.
But you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's almost hard for me to sit there and accept that it's 100% having to do with gender when framing apples to apples.
Well, we should get into the stats that they collected on AO3.
Yeah.
Of our own. Because it is overwhelmingly female.
Yes, on Archive of Our Own here. You sent those to me. I'll pull them up.
Also, the last point for fandom is in terms of defending shipping. There has been lots of respected literary fan fiction. Shipping is, quote, as straightforward as rooting for Ross and Rachel to get together. It's as complex as reading between the lines in Victorian literature, searching for the queer subtext and desired coded in that language. Slash is popular, but not the only game in town, and not all Slash is pornographic.
So the breakdown for AO3, someone basically did a census. Now, there are a lot of issues with this census.
Quick disclaimer.
Yeah, we can definitely take issue with this if you're looking for something extremely accurate. First of all, it's just AO3. And we already said, according to that Vox article, AO3 is typically women who have graduated from college. So,
well, this article uses the stats presented in this.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because there's not a lot of people out there.
But someone basically posted a story.
It would be like
it's framed as like a story on AO3, but said this is a census respond. So this person was taking this data through this. If you get into the nitty gritty with just stats in general, you know that they're already skewed based on who's more likely to answer something like that. And there's a good reason why it might be overwhelmingly female.
What's your T-star number, brah?
Well, the good reason, it might be overwhelmingly female because men are less likely to admit to reading fan fiction because there's a stigma around it.
Very well could be.
That could be it. I mean, if you really want to get into it, I know that growing up as a man, you're definitely more encouraged to get into sports than you are to get into.
But it's also the internet. It's not like they're going to flip the tables on you and be like, "Hey, Alex reads fan fiction." And
no, exactly. No, but you know what I'm saying.
Your name's not tied to it. You're Kitty Lick Lick 347.
Yeah, but I can definitely say that just in general, I have always been more expected to like sports than I have to like, Superman. So
even if you have the rectified anonymity of the internet, you still wouldn't self-identify to this to this survey. There's a chance.
There's a chance that some people are like that, are embarrassed to. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of problems you can pick apart.
But as
a general thing, based on the people who answered, who felt comfortable enough to answer, and who actively wanted to answer, they did a gender breakdown. So of the total respondents, 80% are female. Now that doesn't mean 20% are male. 80% are female. 4% self-identified as male. Again, this is also self-identification. 2% self-identified as transgender. 2% self-identified as androgynous. Actually, more androgynous than transgender. 242 to 227. 2% self-identified as agender. Also more agender people than transgender people.
Do they have the number of people that participated in this?
I can add it up.
Okay.
6% gender queer. So there's actually more people that self-identified and answered this survey that are gender queer than male.
What was the number on that?
727 compared to 417. I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea what this other word is. Neutroi? Neutros?
Oh, that's crazy.
Is that? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, so it's non-binary. Is it neutroi? I'm sorry if I'm spelling it neutral. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Neutroi is a non-binary gender identity which is often associated with a neutral or null gender. Often neutroi people prefer their gender expression to be gender neutral or androgynous, though this may vary from person to person.
Interesting.
So we all learned something new today.
Yeah.
And by all, I mean me and Ryan. Maybe a lot of you already know this.
We're so sweet. We're so sleep. Yeah, all our listeners are woke. We're out here like this.
You guys are woke. I have one eye open,
We're
just
sleep.
barely.
We're sleep. Help me, let me do the blow and I'll be woke like you.
Yes.
I need the blow. I need to be woke.
Trans star, trans asterisk.
Oh, okay. It's like a Boolean. You know how you use star when you query things. If it's like you don't know what the string before or after the word's going to be. You know what I'm talking about? It's like if you wanted to look up, if you're looking up fan fiction, you typed in like Pokemon, but you didn't want the title to just be Pokemon, you put Pokemon star. So the star says anything after that is accepted, or anything before that is accepted. I think trans star means
so
trans.
it's like, okay, I see. Transgender, trans man, trans woman,
multiple
transsexual. Okay, sorry about
It's a
that.
search Boolean.
Yes. Okay, so I guess that's a different sense, a different group of people. Self-identified as that, and then 114 identified as other. So according to this survey, 80% of people on AO3 are female.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, again, you can take this with a grain of salt. It's got a huge sample size, but again, it's got some bias with people self-reporting.
Yes.
But I think that really lends, that's why I really like that argument about people write fan fiction, because they want to see themselves represented.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I see myself represented in everything, I don't need a desire to...
It's almost hard to say that it's about representation when you look at the other statistics that show how many fanfics are written about slash, how many male slash fics there are. Because if you're a woman writing that, how are you... You're just representing your interests. You're not representing yourself. Is that right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Please let me find this article. Okay, so we have, I don't know, Charlotte Gator.
This is an interesting conversation.
Charlotte Getter is, I guess she writes on the internet about, like fandom and comic books and things like that.
But if you look at the top 10, so we also found a list from AO3, right? Yeah. So in 2013, this was as of 2013, so it has been 6 years since this was done, but this is still a good set of data. Someone went through and they did a list of all of the slashes, all the ships on AO3, right? And they just took the raw number. How many fics are there involving these two ships?
Right. Yeah.
Literally,
that's what I was interested in.
Literally, 1 to 23 are male.
What's the first female? Or is it male?
It's male. The first female is 57 from Glee. Santana Lopez and Brittany Pierce.
That's canon, too.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's from the show.
So it doesn't even count, does it?
Sure.
Well,
it does.
I mean, I guess it does, but you understand what I'm saying. Because then the next female is from Homestuck, Rose Lalonde, and Kanaya Merriam.
Homestuck? Isn't that like a sitcom?
I don't know
what that is.
I haven't seen Homestuck.
So this is, as I talked about earlier, Charlotte Getter, she writes about how Winter Soldier may not have been intended to be read as a homoerotic love story, but young women are willing and able to make it one.
Yeah.
Quote, we all wrestle with feelings and we can recognize them in stories when we see them. We don't need for them to be sanctioned. It doesn't matter what the writer intended or what the artist intended. More importantly, it doesn't matter how Disney wants me to interact with the stories that they bankroll. One of the most radical things I tell myself about the media I consume is fuck canon.
I mean, that's fine. Art is based on the interpretation. I get that.
But that's what there's like as to why like so many if it's mostly 80% women and then a lot of it is slash. Yeah, they're just saying that's what women see when they see two dudes duking it out in tight leather. They're like, oh, there's some undertones.
Well, that says something for sure. But I'm saying, how does the representation argument hold water when there are 20,415 fics written about Sherlock Holmes and John Watson from the Sherlock TV show on Archive of Our Own, and they're the number one.
Amen.
Is that representation?
Law of the few. You know, it's like that thing where it's like the top 10% Twitter users produce 80% of the tweets and the content.
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows? This is a prolific small group.
But you get what I'm asking.
I understand.
I'm not trying to say one way or another what
point.
it's saying.
Is it? Yeah, well, that's why the article...
But I'm just saying, I'm just bringing up the point. If the article, if there are other people, obviously, who feel this way, who feel that it is a representation issue, how is writing about Castile and Dean Winchester doing it representative of your...
if you're a woman.
Yeah.
It's
not even if you're a woman. If you're if you're trans, if you're whatever... It'd be one thing if you were rewriting Star Wars from the perspective of a woman. You know what I mean? If Luke Skywalker,
You mean
it was
like
actually
Force Awakens?
Leia. Basically, yeah. Force Awakens, yes.
Jade is woke.
Whoa, Jade. But no, like, if you switch Leia and Luke. Luke's the prince of Alderaan, and Leia was left on a desert. And you're writing it from Leia's perspective. Force Awakens, basically. You get what I'm saying? To me, that would definitely lend itself to that argument of representation. And I would get that, and I would be like, okay, that's definitely it.
Right.
But if 80% of people in Archive of Our Own are women... And literally, the first male-female is Clint Barton and Natasha Romanoff from the Marvel movies, and it's only at 3,000. So the highest pairing is 20,000. When we get to 24th, it's at 3,000. So they've dwindled down that far.
Sure.
So think about how many fics above it are male-male, which would be overwhelmingly the slash fiction written. And by the way, this list is just for slash fic. So there very well may be things that are written for representation that do not include slash that would lend itself to prove that. That would definitely support that idea. But it just, I don't know. That doesn't seem to hold water to me.
The only thing I could say to that is maybe it's more of like the intellectual representation and diversity. So they're not, that's like, okay, it's not all like dudes banging each other. Sometimes these slash are like actual like, Bucky and Steve Rogers are like on the rocks because they can't whatever they're like having emotional turmoil. That's the kind of stories that
they are
a woman would see that's interested in reading, and then they put it into it. When it's just rectified anonymity, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's only 5 things you could do, and one of them is to just say no to an empty room, and that's often what I come up with. I just think those are really interesting article.
That's why we spend so much time talking about this. Like, we're really just trying to figure out what this is saying. And if I've said anything that's off base or I'm uninformed, put it in the chat. Please let us know.
Drop it in the chat.
We'll definitely.
The studio audience is
they're
completely
dead.
They
are
right
dumbfounded right now. Jaws are on the floor. But I'm serious. If I'm misrepresenting my point, if I'm not articulating my thoughts the way that I'd like to, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be offensive or argue against any points. I'm just trying to weigh the data that they're presenting based on their argument. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's a good conversation.
It is a good conversation. I think this is kind of why we're here.
Yep.
This is something that this is right up our alley to talk about. And I hope you guys are interested in this.
Yeah. If you're not interested, we'll never speak of it again.
Don't put it in the chat. Don't ever put it in the chat.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting think pieces out there.
There are, and I think this kind of weighs itself just in general, where we've kind of had this ongoing dialogue of why fan fiction in the first place. Why are people doing this? And I think this is just kind of adding to that conversation.
Sure. And I think, if you're listening and you think we could do a better job of picking those stories, because again, as Alex said at the outset, like we pick stuff that we think you might like. Yeah. That's interesting. If you think that we're not picking things that are representative, because we're just 2 straight white dudes. If we're missing the mark on something you're interested in, let us know. Yeah, we'll find something for. I'd love to read that kind of stuff. Anything.
Yeah. No, we just. Like I said when we were doing the Drabbles, Ryan and I are in our own boxes of things that we find interesting. I would have never looked for a lost fic ever. So we definitely like the feedback for sure.
Love to get out there and see what's in this wide world. So again, the article was from Vox and it was titled "Why We're Terrified of Fan Fiction," and it has a link in there to the Archive of Our Own census, the unofficial census.
Maybe I'll link it to the description of this, and then maybe you can get to it that way.
You can get in there and read it.
Yeah.
But that's what I had for that was my topic.
Okay, no, I thought that was very interesting. Like I said, if you guys have anything to add to the conversation, let us know. If you are so inclined, if you feel so inclined out of this conversation and you want to record yourself talking about it and send it to us through our email.
Oh, dope.
I will link it to the next one and we will talk about it.
You would join such luminaries as the guest on our show as George R. Martin, Neil Gaiman, Craig Ferguson, and you, the listener.
Yes. So no, if you guys feel inclined, jump in. Like, we can definitely talk about this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, if we've said anything that's offensive, totally didn't mean to. We have nothing but the best intentions at the moment. Yeah. We're just trying to boil this down and figure this out.
We like sports and we don't care who knows.
We like sports and we don't care who knows.
Okay, so now that we've discussed that
ad nauseum, you guys are annoyed at us.
Let's hit up my fanfic. It is comes by way of fanfiction.net. It is titled The Great Detective Pikachu, Season 1 English Dub. I don't know why that's in there. And it's by Twin Leaf Publishing. That's the person who wrote it, Twin Leaf Publishing.
It's nice.
So what is your familiarity with Detective Pikachu?
Mine?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing until the movie.
All right, let's get into it then.
Did you, real quick, if you guys are listening to this, you've probably seen the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer. If you haven't, I urge you to pause this, watch the trailer, come right back. I'll give you a time. Okay. Now that you've seen it, if you hadn't before, how awful, right? Just terrible.
Isn't it interesting, because if you look at the Detective Pikachu, because when that trailer first came out, people were like, oh my gosh, nightmare fuel. But over time, we've kind of be like, okay.
When I first saw the trailer, I was in love.
They're like, okay, yeah. Well, but the thing is, like, wow, we never realized Pikachu was so furry. And then you look at Sonic from the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer, and it's like, why is he so furry? That looks horrible. I think what Detective Pikachu, if you watch that trailer, they do it's like kind of like that neo-noir setting. They use a lot of darkness and shadow, which is more forgiving to that kind of stuff. Whereas Sonic he's just standing there.
He's out in the middle of Green Hills.
Every terrifying pore on
his ass crack.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they were a bit smart about it.
Yes. But I saw this meme. And you know from The Last Jedi how Luke Skywalker says the Force, for every overwhelming good, there's an overwhelming bad?
Yeah.
Then they showed Pikachu as the overwhelming good and Sonic as the overwhelming bad. It's just like, this is just a cosmic entity saying, oh, if you get to Detective Pikachu, you also get Sonic the Hedgehog, you fuckers.
Yeah, there's actually, while I was looking, I found Comaful, which is another site you can look up some. They're very, very short stories for fan fiction. There was one where Detective Pikachu meets Deadpool, and they talk about why they sound so similar. And then,
that's really funny.
And then Green Lantern shows up and spirits them away, because they're all played by Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. Wow. I think the Detective Pikachu trailer was amazing. I think the movie looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so excited to see it.
I'm looking forward to it for sure.
So those of you who get to see it today or who have already seen it, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I still have to wait 9 days.
Right.
But I'm going to see that. I'm so amped on Detective Pikachu.
I'm trying to get in there for sure. So this is...
Does it start with the Pokemon?
No. This is a hard-boiled.
This is a hard-boiled Detective Pikachu look. Okay. Again, I don't mean to keep interrupting you. Have you ever seen the Ron Paul version of that?
The Ron Paul version of the Pokemon intro?
Yes.
No.
So this is going to be neat for all of you listeners out here. This is the guy who recorded the Pokemon song in 2008. It was either 2008 or 2012. Was a massive Ron Paul fan.
Ron Paul, the hell?
And so he actually toured.
It's so random.
He actually toured. It was 2012. He actually toured with Ron Paul.
Everyone remembers Ron Paul's very successful 2012 presidential bid.
And we got this beauty from it.
He's gonna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is his real test, to train them is his cause. He will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each delegate to understand the power that's inside. It's you and me. I know it's your destiny. Oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. My heart's so
So the actual guy recorded that.
The dude went on tour. He would perform it live.
Dang, I should have voted for Ron Paul.
I should have, yeah.
Oh, man.
So for those of you who didn't know that,
I love that Obama was Jesse.
I'll also link the video that someone cut.
A lot of links.
Yes,
yeah.
Someone cut a video to the song.
That's perfect.
And it's like the greatest thing in the world.
The song is real. Video is fan made.
Yes,
that's amazing.
And the actual guy who sang the Pokemon song did that.
So this is The Great Detective Pikachu, Season 1 English dub. The name is Pikachu, retired private eye. Yeah, you're probably asking, hey, Peek, how the heck did you become a private eye and why are you retired? Plus, you're a Pokemon. How can you be a detective if you can't even speak to humans? Well, I was different from all the other Pichu when I was a kid back in Maine. While all the other Pichu played shock tag and ate berries, I was off binge-watching CSI Miami and Criminal Minds at the cottage while drinking 3 cups of coffee a day.
Sick.
I wanted to be just like Horatio. I wanted to solve crimes. I wanted to be a cop. So once I evolved into a Pikachu, I went to Boston, of all places, and filled out a job application, since the Boston Police Department had a lack of cops at the time. But as you may have guessed, I bombed the interview. First question was, can you tell us why you would like to join the police department, Mr. Chu? I'll give you a guess what my response was.
Pika Pika?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. So I walked out, feeling down and all of a sudden a gray, dark 2012 Ford Fusion halted to a stop right in front of my face. The driver came out of the car wearing a blue vest and dark jeans. It was the first time I met my partner, Stan Wadsworth, 32 at the time. He took me in and eventually we became Boston's top detective agency, solving case after case after case.
Why does his age matter?
Stan Wadsworth, 32.
Okay.
Detective Pikachu, he analyzes people and sets it straight. I had the life no Pikachu could ever have. Then, why did I retire? It all started that damned January night, the night of the huge storm in 2016. We were chasing a car that belonged to one Phil Parsons, wanted for rape, double murder, and now bank heist. It was 7 below zero, about 1 hour to midnight. Just as we took a right turn, Phil fired his gun at us, popped one of the tires, and we skidded over the edge. I survived the wreck, but it was the last time I ever saw Stan alive. He was 35. God rest his soul. I was too stressed thinking about that night that I started having nightmares about the event. So to prevent any more trouble, I wrote on a post-it note that I wanted to leave, take a leave of absence. The chief said that I couldn't even work on any more cases until I had a new human partner. So, since then, I have searched for a human with an interest in criminal justice. But the search didn't go well at first. And then it goes into what Pikachu thought he said, and then what the human heard. What I said. Hey, babe, I need a new partner, and you look gorgeous enough to carry a gun and wear a badge. Maybe you and I could discuss it over lunch. Maybe 1 o'clock tomorrow. And what you heard is, Pikachu, Pika. So she runs off. So much for that. So I decided to try a man.
Wait, so did his other partner understand
Spoke
him?
Pikachu, yeah.
Okay.
So he's struggling because he's this great detective, but he needs to find someone who speaks Pikachu.
Justice Smith.
Exactly. What I said. Dude, I think you'd be great for the Boston Police Force. Here's my card. What he heard? Chew. Pikachu. Pikachu. Even worse, my card was typed using Siri. I said Pikachu, private eye, and Siri printed out Pikachu, Pika-P. I was so desperate, I even wished on a star for a human partner. What? I was friggin' desperate. What are you saying, that 20-somethings can't wish on a star? Is that what you're saying? I'm digressing, aren't I?
You know what? I love the fact that Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu, but I would love it if it was just some like grizzled old yeah, so what? Like exactly the way you're reading
Exactly. This is a great way, yeah. I'm digressing. But I didn't know that I would eventually get the right man for the job, a guy named Tim Goodman. It all started when I almost got run
Tim?
over. I don't know. Same age as he
32?
is in the movie. It started when I almost got run over by a Honda. And soon, I saw an APOM swipe a girl's necklace across the street. Trying to get it back was a boy in a red-orange hoodie. That boy was Tim. I ran over to stop the APOM, and Tim grabbed my ears. My ears! Not the APOM, my ears. What I said. Hey, damn it! What the hell, kid? Did anyone ever tell you it ain't nice to squeeze other people's ears? Now put me the hell down. What he heard was what I said.
What?
Yeah, he could hear me speaking English. And you could tell because his mouth was hanging open. You can talk was the last thing you'd expect a human to say to a Pokemon, yet Tim said it anyway. Focus on the situation at hand, Squirt, I said, face palming and pointing at the A-palm, who was just about to make his escape. Seriously, I don't know what I saw in this kid at first, but I remembered the name Goodson when Stan and I were working on a case back in September 2014. Look, kid who hates to be called Squirt, do you have a name that you like being called? Make it short, sweet, and to the point, because I am not calling you Mr. Hoodie Guy for the rest of my life. Tim Goodson. Lovely. I'd like to introduce you to a pompous ass over here. You'll recognize him by the girl's friggin' necklace that he's wearing.
A friggin' necklace.
Friggin' necklace.
Friggin' necklace.
Joey Wheeler over here. Hey,
where's your dad?
Where's your dad, you?
Where's your dad, Justice? That's the plot to the movie.
It is the plot. Oh, my gosh. Now we can stay here wasting a few minutes of our lives learning stuff about each other, but let Monkey Butt over there get away, or you can come with me and catch this goddamn crook. It's your choice. I'll wait. I'll help you, man. Jeez, you don't have to yell at me like that. I'm only 22. Yeah, and I'm Seth MacFarlane. Now come on. I ran towards the A-palm with the necklace. There's a lot of random stuff going on here. Tim was still standing there. I could hear one of the bystanders saying, "Hey, kid, were you talking to that Pikachu over there?" Oh, for the love of coffee. Okay, so that was the first part. And then the next chapter is the author saying that they've been sidetracked by another fan fiction, so they're not going to continue this one, even though it's gotten the most views of any of their fan fictions. And they said, you can just watch the movie to find out the rest.
So that's the end of the fic?
That's the end of the fanfic. They're racing off to catch this burglar, but it ends right there.
Damn.
So it's really, I think it's nice. I'd like to think that you can read this and then go into the movie, and you have Detective Pikachu's backstory. He had Stan Wadsworth, or whatever his name was, as his old detective. He died tragically, and Pikachu was kind of on the rocks looking for, a new partner.
I'm going to finish this. The big villain was his partner who died, who didn't actually die.
Ooh.
There you go.
That might happen.
Finish that. Write that. Put that in the chat.
Go ahead and write that.
Write that in. I liked it. I wanted more.
All right. So my second Pokemon fan fiction is called Pokemon Champion. It comes from fanfiction.net as well. And it is pretty hardcore crack. It's hard to get through the whatever you call it. The punctuation's all over the place. The spelling is up and down.
Oh, sick.
So
It's what did the article say? Illiterate.
It's borderline
illiterate right now.
Let's just blast through. So this is Pokemon Champion Chapter 1. It begins, quote, Nash Fetchum. And he was Ash Ketchum's cousin.
Oh, God.
He lived from Pallet Town, but wasn't from the same years, so he never actually met his cousin. One day, Nash Fetchum got up to start his Pokemon journey once and for all. Nash Fetchum said, I will be the Pokemon champion, and got up and put on his socks and looked at the clock and was very late, so he got his backpack and left.
Couldn't he just have the same last name if they're cousins? Why does it have to be Fetchum instead of Ketchum?
He's Nash Fetchum.
Okay.
People aren't grouped by familial bonds in the Pokemon universe. They're just bonded by, your name kind of sounds familiar. Let's just stick you together.
I guess so.
So Nash Fetchum is our protagonist. So he's looking, he gets there, all the Pokemon are gone, as is in the TV show, and Dr. Oak says, you're gone, you're late, there's no Pokemon left, and then he hears a mysterious voice that says, take the other Pokeball, Nash. And he looked but didn't see the voice. He took the other Pokeball that was on the table and opened it, and Pikachu is inside, of course, and we begin our, lifelong...
It's not Pikachu?
No, it's Pikachu.
Okay.
So he goes, he fights Brock, he wins.
He doesn't fight Doc?
Brock is the first gym. No. Ash Fetchum is the only... Everyone else is in the universe. It's canon universe with Ash Fetchum. He wins, he beats Brock, and, quote, Broke said, good job, take this budge. And Nash Fetchum had 2 badges because one was from Pallet Town 5 years ago. So this person is just kind of trying to make up for lost time. Really trying to speed through this. On his way to the next town, he catches a Rayquaza, which is a legendary Pokemon.
What?
He just kind of stumbles into it.
Is he from space?
Yeah,
that's Deoxys.
He's the ozone layer.
Yeah.
But he just kind of
controls all the other dragons or something.
Yeah, he kind of just backs into it.
Okay. Hey, sometimes you have a Master Ball and Rayquaza just appears.
And then he gets another vision in his head. He's like, I kind of want to just stay around. Nash Fetchum doesn't have too many ambitions, but this voice keeps driving him along. It says, no, Nash Fetchum, you must battle to become Pokemon champion. And he just keeps being magnetically pulled along because this voice is forcing him to do so. He's going to be the best. He assembles his Pokemon team, and he goes to the Elite Four, which is the championship.
Did he get all the other badges, or did he just go straight to
Yeah,
the
it
Elite
says he
Four?
gets all the badges really fast.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, no,
he just jumped into the Elite Four.
So he goes to the Elite Four, and he wins. He's the new Pokemon champion. So the announcer says, Nash Fetch'em wins. And Nash Fetch'em cries as he hugs Pikachu. Pikachu, of course, says, Pika. And Nash Fetch'em says, we won, Pikachu, and I am Pokemon champion, and cries. But then something horrible happened. The voice that he'd been hearing all along said, congratulations, Nash Fetch'em. You did well. And Nash Fetch'em looked up to see Mewtwo standing in front of him. Nash Fetch'em says, it's been you all along. And Mewtwo said, yes, thank you, Nash Fetch'em. You helped me take over the world. You did well, my little Pokemon.
Oh, so Mewtwo's the trainer.
And Nash Fetch'em said, but I'm not a Pokemon. But Mewtwo said, I'm your master, Nash Fetch'em. Pikachu is only your imagination because you are a Pikachu.
Wait, what?
Nash Fetch'em looked down and saw his yellow paws and fur for the first time. Mewtwo said, you did well, my little one. You deserve rest. And he held out his Pokeball. Nash Fetch'em said, no, and tried to dodge, but it was too late. He got caught in the Pokeball and stayed there forever. End of chapter 1.
What?
So Mewtwo has been controlling him this whole time. There's a chapter 2.
That I hope it's like in Robot Chicken, that when they go into the Pokeball, like it's just Pikachu and like a jacuzzi with like 2 Pika bitches.
Yeah.
And it's like,
No, so Nash Fetch'em was a Pokemon the whole time.
Oh my god.
He was a Pikachu. He was being manipulated.
That was an M. Night Shyamalan
Shamalama Ding Dong
twist.
That's what I call those Shamalama Ding Dongs. So part 1, Darkness of Heart.
Okay.
Mewtwo sat still. He was sad and angsty, as all Pokemon are. So this person just goes into straight parody where it's just like a bunch of like they parody a bunch of like angsty characters, and then there's another parody in the next chapter we'll get to. Mewtwo said, humans are pathetic and they will all die and only Pokemon will rule. So this is flashing back to what kind of motivated Mewtwo to get started in the first place. Mewtwo was born by cloning in laboratory.
Wait, does it actually say born?
Yes.
Okay.
It kind of just talks about how he was born from Mew DNA.
No, he was born.
He was born from Mew DNA. So one day, Mewtwo was kind of roaming the world when he comes across a trainer who is mistreating his Pokemon. He says, it's a Rattata. You are weak and you will never be strong, and I'm leaving you. Don't bother following me. I hate you. And he breaks the Pokeball under a rock so Rattata cannot come out ever again. The trainer walked away.
Okay, wait. This is a serious question.
Yeah.
Maybe the audience has an opinion. Do you say Rattata or Rattata?
I just did both of them, didn't I?
I know. No, because I
think I say Rattata.
I've always said Rattata.
I think I say Rattata.
Do I pronounce it wrong?
I don't think so.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
I bet I pronounce it wrong.
Weigh in. Send us an audio file of you saying Rattata.
I want a 2-hour-long compilation of Rattata. Rattata.
The next podcast we release will be a soundscape of our listeners saying Rattata.
It's going to be an ASMR.
So then Mewtwo, he witnesses this, and he feels darkness coming from him, and he's furious. He uses his mystical power to put the Pokeball back together, and he brings the Rattata out, and he says, why has this human done this to you? And the Rattata says, because everyone laughs at me because I am the weakest Pokemon. Mewtwo grunted. He found the trainer and opened all the other Pokeballs of that trainer and said, you will feel my wrath. And all the Pokemon attacked him. And then he said, all humans must now die.
Oh,
as
God.
he flew away. So he then goes and he's going through all the gyms and he's killing the gym leaders and releasing their Pokemon into the wild. And he meets someone named Jennifer. And Jennifer says, one of the people you killed was my father. And he says, she says, why are you doing this? He says, because you are a human and I am a Pokemon, and there can be no peace between our people. And Mewtwo flies off. He goes to destroy other places in gyms, but he keeps thinking about Jennifer, this person who stood up to him and was just showing compassion. She didn't hate him. She just wanted to know why he was doing things.
Please don't let this be another rectified anime.
And they fall in love.
No, my God.
He says, Mewtwo wakes up in the middle of the night sweating, screaming, I am Mewtwo. Why am I in love? Oh, and he was very confused because if all humans did die, then Jennifer was being one of humans. She had to die as well. But he didn't want Jennifer to die because he loved her. So he thought there has to be a way. And he's like skipping rocks across the water. He's like thinking there has to be a way. And then he says, I have it. So he kidnaps Jennifer, and he turns her into a Mewtwo. I will make you a female Mewtwo. And he puts her in this tank or whatever, and she pops out, female Mewtwo. He says, now it is done, and we are happy, Mewtwo said. But Jennifer said, no, Mewtwo, it's not like that. What is it that you mean? Mewtwo said, Mewtwo, this body is unstable, and I will die soon. Jennifer said, goodbye, Mewtwo. I love you.
Wait,
and
she loved him
too?
too?
She became silent because she was dead.
Wait, she loved him too?
This is one of the great love stories. It doesn't need to be explained.
Okay.
It's just automatic.
Sometimes love is love.
Mewtwo cried, and lightning came out of the sky. Shadows from the sky vaporized the laboratory he was in and burned it down like he did the first time over 100 years ago. Mewtwo rose up into the stars and burst into an angsty explosion, and then all of a sudden there's like this flash of light, and it gets so blinding, and everything disappears. And that's the end of Chapter 2. Now we're really in the weeds. What's happening?
What on earth is going on?
Nash Fetch'em was a Pokemon the whole time.
Nash is gone.
And then Mewtwo falls in love with a human, tries to Frankenstein her into a female Mewtwo. It doesn't work.
Did it.
And he flies up into the sky. Then everything goes to white. So Chapter 3 is called The Judgment. The world was gone. The legendary Pokemon did not know what to do. Arceus, the god of all Pokemon, held the meeting and all the legendary Pokemon came in. You two betrayed us, said he, god of Pokemon. We must make sure things like this never happen again in the new world. I will make the new world, and we will do it different this time. What is your idea, Great One? Said Lucario, who is not a legendary. I take umbrage with that, but he's there. I have made the decision, said he. I decree I will make legendary Pokemon high school. So they all have to go to high school and learn how to be Pokemon.
All right, this is definitely crack. You know that Arceus is 10 feet 6 inches?
Yeah, he's huge. He's
massive.
also the originator of the universe.
Wait, he created people too?
Yes. He is the Lord God of the Pokemon
so
universe.
why would a Pokemon create people to enslave Pokemon?
That's kind of one of the plot points. It's like he creates Pokemon and humans to live together in harmony. And he doesn't like it when people are taking advantage of his creations.
But if you can create it, can't you destroy it?
You can.
Oh no!
And it's up to you in Pokemon, whatever. I think it was
White,
Diamond and Pearl. I think
No,
he's
I
in
don't know.
Diamond and Pearl to stop him and capture him, so you can have God in a Pokeball. You can catch the God of the universe.
I would catch him in a Pokeball.
And name him-
just a regular ass Pokeball.
Name him whatever you want.
Dickbag.
Exactly.
Get him, Dickbag!
How can he create when he's stuck in your inbox?
He doesn't have to create anymore.
So then the rest of it is just them. It's like a parody of like how terrible fan fictions send everyone to high school.
Oh,
and
smart.
It's all the Pokemon in high school. They learn about the quadratic formula, and they're all just laughing, and they're like being paired together. That Act 4, they all log onto Pokemon AIM and message each other.
Sweet.
And it kind of just fizzles out from there until Zekrom, one of the legendaries, goes crazy, much in the same way as Mewtwo does.
I'm learning about a lot of new Pokemon today. Zekrom?
That's from Pokemon Black, I believe. It's Zekrom and Reshiram. Those are the black and white legendaries.
Ah, okay. Reshiram. I see Reshiram. Zekrom is 9'6". That's a tall Pokemon.
I'd want that on my basketball team.
He's a dragon and an electric Pokemon.
Put him down there. Oh yeah, Zekrom. He's the black one, and he's from Pokemon White.
I stopped playing and paying attention after Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald.
And that's because you grew up, and I never did. So now they have to deal with Zekrom, who's going crazy. And Zekrom is really taking it to him. And there's these massive battles, and they think they're all going to die. But at the last minute, all the legendaries stand in awe as one of the Gundams comes out of nowhere and strikes him down.
What? The Gundams are in it too?
The Gundams are now in it. Zekrom lands on the Gundam lands on the ground, and twilight sparkles and flutters come out of it. Don't worry, Zekrom will still live, said the Gundam. What? All of them said. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Dialga asks. Arceus and Prince Celestia show up together. So Arceus again is like the god.
Wait, who's Prince Celestia?
Oh, that's from My Little Pony.
Princess Celestia.
Princess Celestia. So Princess Celestia is now in this. He comes out of an interdimensional portal. See, says Arceus, I said I would make this world different, so I made Pokemon live in Equestria, and I will pair myself with Princess Celestia. Now the mistake of Mewtwo will never happen again because we have the ultimate weapon.
Love?
Friendship.
Friendship.
The end.
What the fuck?
I really liked the first chapter.
The first chapter was cool, and then
the
there's
second chapter
Gundams
was weird.
and My Little Pony.
Third chapter goes off the rail, becomes a straight up parody of like high school fix and all that nonsense.
What the fuck?
And then there's an author's note promising that there will be another chapter. Sorry guys, I haven't updated this in 8 years. Can you believe it's been 8 years? I can't either. I'm really sorry. Lots of stuff have been going on. I had to repeat the 11th grade twice. I quit high school, got my GED. Then I lost the GED. Then I lost the internet until I went to college, but I quit that too after 3 years, trying to major in English. I think I got a little better at writing. Can you believe how terrible this fanfiction was? And that was written in 2012, so I don't think it's actually going to be updated.
There's a whole spiral of things going on here.
So,
oh my God.
The story is not dead, I promise.
I want this person's life to get better for them. I really do.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of other stuff. I don't want to put their business out here.
Yeah, let's not put them on blast.
They wrote it on fanfiction.net, so you can go find it.
Wow.
It is Pokemon Champion.
Mewtwo is only 2 inches taller than me. He's 6'7". Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
He's essentially a human.
He's basically a human being, yeah. Wow.
He's like LeBron James size.
So this whole thing with Nash Fetch'em, it reminded me of Strokemon, the XXX Pokemon porn parody.
Nice.
So do you want to guess who the characters are?
Oh, do they have like porny names?
Yeah, of course. So who would Ash be?
Ass.
Gash.
Oh.
I thought it'd be ass too. It's Gash. Misty?
Missy.
Fisty.
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 That's easy.
Pikachu?
Peek at you.
Dikachu.
Oh.
And of course, it's a female, and Ash does have sex with Dikachu.
Okay.
And Fisty. Brock. Brock.
Rock hard. I don't know.
Cock.
Oh, that
It's
was
just cock.
so easy.
Come on, you're putting way too much onto this. Nurse Joy. Nurse Joy-tus. Like coitus.
Oh, God.
Meowth. Muffed.
Oh, God. You know my childhood.
Jesse.
Oh, please, anything but whatever you're going to say.
Jizzy.
Oh, no!
And James.
Hi.
Jams.
No.
Jizzy and Jams. So that's the name of the cast of Strokemon. And then for some reason, this is all on IMDb, and the one that was linked to it is 10-inch Mutant Ninja Turtles.
10-inch Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah. And the characters, I won't make you guess. It's Michelangelo, Spreader instead of Shredder. April's just April. Raphaelis instead of Raphael. Master Sphincter. Leonardo.
These are all the pseudonyms of the actual Renaissance artists.
Donatello.
Donatello.
So that's 10-inch Mutant Ninja Turtles, where I believe they just run a train on April. I don't know.
Gosh. Donatello.
Donatello.
That will stay with me from now until the end of my days.
Yeah.
Donatello.
Michelangelo. Yes.
Cheesy and Jams. Oh,
That's a great way to end this. What do you think?
That's a bad way to end.
It's a great way to end this.
Oh,
it was nice.
Man. I could make it through rectified anonymity. That makes me sad.
Yes. So are you stoked on anything now that can we change the subject to stoked?
I am stoked on the Game of Thrones is my big thing. But
yeah.
I'm into it. I've just been rewatching the series and reading back through the books and everything. So
I'm sure you and all the listeners will be happy to hear that I am finally halfway through season 2.
Good.
So I've watched 5 episodes.
I'm excited for you.
Since we last had this discussion.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to bite the bullet, and when the final episode comes on, just go over to your apartment and just watch it, and then no one can spoil me. I know everything that happens in season 8 because of Twitter.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just watch the last episode and just be like, yeah, fuck it.
We can watch it together.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just watch the last one and just be like, yeah, I know what happens. And then I still want to watch the rest.
You better come in costume because I will have a viewing party.
I believe that, actually. So I don't know. I'll go to IKEA and I'll get one of the rugs and put it on my back.
There you go. You meet Jon Snow.
Jon Snow. You know that's actually how they make the costumes, right?
What, they go to IKEA?
They actually use IKEA rugs for the furs.
I think I remember
because they don't use real furs.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. They use IKEA rugs.
And they're hot.
Super hot. Kit Harington said they're hot as fuck. But when you're in the middle of like a white desert of just snow.
Biggest desert in the world.
Antarctica. How'd you know that? No. Did you guys know that?
But I digress.
So you're stoked on Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah. What are you stoked on?
I guess I'm stoked. May 10th, I will be back down in Florida visiting home.
Okay.
Like I said last time we were stoked on things. I committed to UF. I'm going down to look at apartments and kind of get some stuff figured out. I recently completed my TA application. So
You got to live in a house, man. You can't feed that toxic corporate Gainesville housing market that's tearing down the swamp.
They're trying to tear down the swamp. For those of you who don't know, it's just a bar that not a lot of people go to.
Overpriced and the food sucks.
But
it's got good
I think
memories.
the food's good.
I don't like the food
think
that
the food's
much.
good, but
Good buffalo dip.
yeah, people just like it because of the name. The name of the football stadium is the Swamp. Mm-hmm. The whole city is a swamp.
And the restaurant.
The restaurant's called the Swamp, so it's like a cool.
It is pretty. It's got like a white
thing.
picket fence.
It's a really nice restaurant.
Yeah.
Like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, if you're going to keep Fats open and you're going to close Swamp.
Yeah, there are 3 or 4 other bars that need to close before the Swamp does.
Yeah, in terms of just like health codes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think 3 or 4 years ago, they tore down all these other bars and then built this prison complex of luxury apartments called the Standard. Mm-hmm. And
that was a big vacant lot. They just tore up to that big vacant lot and put the Standard there.
I guess.
On the corner of University and Stadium.
I thought there used to be bars there.
No, it was just grass.
Oh, okay. You know better than I would. Yeah, you were there longer. But yeah, so they're going to tear down the Swamp.
University on 13th, sorry, not Stadium.
Yeah, it's 13th. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to Gainesville, and I'm pretty stoked on that. And I'm going to go hang out with one of my friends. I'm going to bring my dog up with me so I get to spend the whole weekend with my dog. I'm so excited to see him. He's a good little boy. He's a golden retriever, and his name's Arthur. So I get to go down and hang out with Arthur. I'm very excited about that.
So if you want to get into the things we're stoked on, you can watch Game of Thrones like me, or you could show up to Gainesville on May 10th.
And when this comes out,
follow Alex around.
Follow us around. I will have Arthur
clutching
with
your
me.
copy of The Catcher in the Rye, following Alex.
Kill John Lennon. Kill the phonies. South Park reference. We did it, guys.
We made it.
We fucking did it. Mm-hmm. To end the episode, we have a YouTube channel. I think by the time this comes out, the second part of the Let's Play will be on. We'll see.
Is this going to come out in 2023?
Maybe.
Then maybe.
Hell yeah. Please remember to write us a review. We'd love you forever if you did. Follow us on Patreon. As little as $1 a month, and that helps us roll things back into this podcast. We have bought mic stands, and I think next we're going to buy those. I forgot them last time. What it's called? The wind guards. Because
Wingardium Leviosa's.
I pop my pee. Wingardium Leviosa sounds like Cardi B's real name, which is like Bacardis Almazar or something like that. So, oh God, a chair just started floating. I did say a spell.
Oh my gosh, you're a wizard, Alex.
You're a wizard, Alex. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, all Suck My Fanfic or Suck My Fanfic podcast, and we stream on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and Fireside. But why do I even say that? Because you should know that because you're listening to this.
Right. You should know better.
I should know better.
You should know better.
Yeah.
Not you, the listener.
Yes.
You should know better. You know where we are.
But thank you for listening. We really do appreciate it. We hope that our intellectually stimulating conversation about fan fiction really, really buttered your muffin today.
Or it will help you fall asleep. You just put it on.
Yeah.
You having trouble sleeping, just put it on, pass out cold.
Yeah. So either way, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And Ryan, what should we remember?
You teach me, and I teach you.
Run, Paul!